Okay, this is part one of the animation. Well, I said controller, but it's helper. And it's what this does is it ties into my player control script so they throw events back and forth as needed. So the player control handles input. It does the mapping of the Xbox controller, the keyboard, the mouse, um, or the Oculus controllers, or anything else that should be XR, I think, except for the path name I may have to figure out as time goes on. People may tell me, or I may have to figure it out. So if it goes idle, then if the movement script says they're idle, it'll toss an event, and if configured, the animation helper will automatically move them to the idle animation, or if they're running, or if they're walking, and so on. Animation speed, this is so I can tweak the animation speed of the animator. Uh, I, I do it mostly for debugging. I end up leaving it at 1. I thought it would be more useful, but I'm going to leave it there because sometimes it's useful to adjust that based on your world. The default state, I think it's by default it's set there. I've set it to idle. So when the animation helper starts up, it automatically places whatever object it's dropped on into the idle state. Reached target distance. If it's an NPC or an other kind of, or just even another player, and or this, whatever this is attached to is, uh, it'll consider itself as reaching the target when it's within this distance. And 0.1 is pretty much right in the middle of, not even next to. It's close. And reach target state, go to idle. I set this, if you don't want it to do anything when it gets there, but in my case, I go back to idle. So they're walking, but when if it's an NPC, when it reaches within whatever distance I have set here, then it automatically goes to this state. I could set it to attack, I could set it to fall, I could set it to anything I want. And we'll get into what's and then automatic idle is what I discussed a little bit earlier in the player control script. After this much time of idle, it automatically idles the game, and or actually goes to the idle state, which can be anything, right? It could be sleep instead of idle, right? And then I have a hierarchy built in, which is in the documentation, and I think it is, it goes to, if you're starting at the highest level, it goes from idle and ready to attack. After a little while, it goes to idle and looking, then it goes to idle, and then after a while, it goes to rest, and this is if you want it to. Then after a while, it goes to sleep. I think, yeah, there's sleep in here, right? So you can set it up to do that in the script. I may add a button sequence here of what you want it to do, or the sequence. It may be in there by the time you see this video. Now here are the animator states. I just made up some that are common. This is an editable script. You can just add more. But I want to show you one. Here's one attack. All right. So if the player control script activates the attack delegate, it will pass it the player's facing information, which we covered in player control, and the player's moving information, right? And between the two, it can decide which animation to use. So if they're facing forward and moving forward, you're going to get, this is not checked. You're going to get one of these two at random. In this case, it's an unarmed attack. The guy punches from the left arm, the guy punches from the right arm. And then they're kind of backwards, I found out, but that's fine. If they're moving forward, if they're facing forward but moving to the right at like a 45-degree angle, and this is where it gets backwards, I wanted them to punch from the right hand, but punch left actually punches from the left towards the right, right? So I had to reverse this and say punch left, but you can change these. These are just, right? They come from the animator. Animator, right? I had some free animations and I brought them in and it had these. So I brought these and a few more in. And these names must match exactly these names. I might be able to figure out how to programmatically get these names and then let you tie them together over here. But for now, the attack, right, is a concept. It's not a hard-coded, defined, predefined word. It means something to the player or the programmer, but it doesn't mean anything to the animation, because the animation just is a string of letters that happen to spell attack, right? So I haven't figured out how to tie these together without having to manually enter them for every animation that you have in your animator. So anyway, sequence is off, which means it'll choose one of these, however many you have, at random to use. And if we're moving forward to the right, it uses a punch left. Moving to the right means all the way to the right. It'll do a punch left, which is punching with the right arm, as strange as it sounds, and so on. And if you only have one animation, is what you would do is you would set moving forward, and if basically if it can't find a specific one, it goes to moving forward and does that animation. If it can't find a moving forward, it does nothing. And it says he doesn't want an attack. I don't know. Basically, I don't know why you sent me the signal. And the same with block. It's got a blocking loop that you can. So, but this one only has a forward, I believe. Yeah, there's no other one, right? So if you're walking backwards, facing forward and walking backwards, it'll go, oh, there isn't one here, go to the moving forward. If there wasn't one here, it wouldn't do a block. I want to show you cast a spell. I'll move these around. This was alphabetical, it's spell, but I changed it to cast a spell instead of spell, and so I may have to move it up the list. Here, the sequence box is checked. That means it plays this one, and then it plays this one, and then it plays this one. And if you want to do multiple with a sequence, right now you can't. I may, create another plus button at this level. I tried that, but at this level got so complicated with how many of these and which one it was affecting, I deleted it. And if you need one, the source comes with it. You just add it. And in this case, there is no, because zeros are over here, there is no other cast. It's always going to do it the way the player is facing forward, even if they're walking backward or even if they're walking. There's no difference in which one it uses. And in this particular game, in this particular animator, which comes with the demo, there is a run animations, but I was kind of surprised to find out there were no walk animations. So what I did is I just put the run ones in here. Again, these are just string names, and these are concept names that I invented that are common. And by the time you get this script, there may be more in here. I don't think I'll take any away. Anyway, so and that's the part one. The debug information down here is just more. There, for an NPC and a player, it can react a little different. I think this will be gone by the time you see it, and it's just going to be the stuff that's in the player control. But because this can be dropped on a non-player, this is primarily the main local user, right? But I can drop an animation helper on an NPC. It will not have a control script, player control script. And that was telling me this debug information that I couldn't see because there was no player control script. So I may have this, this may be gone. I'll probably keep it in because every time I took it out, I needed it again to debug something. So anyway, that's the end of the part one of the animation helper script.